Hello. Today I'm going to be trying a problem called Eat the Chip. I think it's rated 1600 from some previous contest. Um, yeah, I looked at this yesterday a bit, and so I'm going to try to, I'm not going to code today, but I'm going to try to think up the solution and look at the solution after I've tried it. Okay, so yeah, this is the problem. I've already read it. So maybe we'll move to the um, a whiteboard. Okay. So in this problem, you have a checkerboard, which is, gosh, you have a checkerboard, which can be tall. I mean, which has different heights and can have different heights and width. The height can be 1 to 10 to the 6, and the width can be 1 to 10 to the 9. Okay, then you have two players, A and B, that are positioned at different cells of this checkerboard. That's a guarantee. A can move like this. This is one move, this, or this. B can move like this. And they move in alternate turns, and the moment one lands on a square where the other is already there, that one's the winner. So the question is, so does Alice always start first? Height, width, XA, YA, XB, YB. Yeah, I think Alice starts first. With Alice starting. Okay, they say that. Yeah, and you have to say whether it is, yeah, and also I guess if neither player can move, the game immediately ends in draw. I'm wondering, um, whether it's like it means that on Alice's turn, if she can't move, that's it, draw. Or whether we have to, like, Bob will keep moving till both can't move, it's a draw. And also whether that such a thing is relevant, but maybe we can look at the examples. So the input is HW XAYA XBYB. So if 10 cross 10, 3, 1, 1, 1. So Alice is at 3, 1. Bob is at 1, 1. Bob can't make a move. Um, Alice would only go down. Mm, this is at 1-3. Yeah, this doesn't answer it. I guess why this is relevant is okay, what would happen if I guess this is the situation I'm wondering about. If you had Alice and Bob, Alice on, sorry, maybe Alice and Bob. Alice can make a move. Bob can't make. Bob can also make. Hmm. Somehow that doesn't seem relevant because um okay, maybe I should articulate my question. It says if either player cannot make a move, Alice in the first row, Alice in the last row, Bob in the first row, the game immediately ends in draw. I'm wondering whether it's an either or both are necessary. However, I realize um, in case Alice is in the last row, um, Bob would never be able to get her because Bob can only move up, right? And yeah, and if Bob is in the first row, Alice can never get Bob because Alice can only move up. So I guess if somehow if either end up in such a situation, it's automatically a draw. Let's see why. Let's say Alice is in last row. In last row, this implies Alice can't get Bob get because she can't move. And Bob can't get Alice because can move only up. And similarly, I think the opposite holds. So yeah, um, I guess either is sufficient. Thinking of either can't move is sufficient, and that only happens when they reach the last row. Anyway, okay. Now for the actual logic of the problem. Now, I think one thing to notice is if the height difference between them, maybe the age difference is odd, then either Alice wins or draw. And if it's even, either Bob wins or draw. Okay. Why is that? Because notice that in each step, Alice has to decrease her height and Bob has to increase his height. And if they um if one wins, then they have to be at the same height. And so that means there have to be, if the difference is odd, the number of total moves, 1, 2, 3, the number of total moves is odd. And if the difference is even, the number of total moves is even. So this holds, okay? Now the question is when do we figure out when this happens? Okay, let's look at case 1. If if oh mm, I guess I mean height difference. Okay, even. Oh, correct. This is what I mean. Yeah. So let's take the first case. Let's say it's like this. Now Alice obviously wins in such a case. Okay, let's take another case. Let's say Bob is here. So if Bob played badly, Alice would come here, Bob would come here, Alice would come here. Now, can Bob escape in this scenario? Um, uh-huh. So it looks like Alice has to play first. So if Alice is playing optimally, I guess her best strategy is to go straight down. And then Bob could try to run away. And then Alice could chase. So I guess Alice could ensure, like, um, at Alice's turn, if they start out at the same column, um, then at Alice's turn, she can ensure she's always at the same column. So then Alice always wins, I guess. My claim is Alice always wins this. Now the interesting part is when they are in a slightly different column to start. Right? That's when the edge cases play a role. Let's take the easy case where um, there's lots of columns. Okay. So if this is the case, um, uh-huh. Even if Bob is one apart, Alice can always ensure she goes to Bob's column and then onwards ensure she's in the same column, right? So even here and here, I think Alice always wins. Yeah. Then, okay. What happens if Bob is two columns away? So Alice, Bob. Now's the interesting part. Um, Alice moves here. Bob moves here. Alice moves here. Alice can't reach. But if it was a few more, 3, 4. Bob was here. Alice was here. Alice would move, and they were 2 columns apart. Uh-huh. Okay. Alice would move here. Bob would move here. Alice would move here. Bob moves here. Alice moves here. Okay. So this is when the edge screws with Bob. And when does that happen exactly? Um, hmm. So since they are 2 apart, so Alice gets 1 horizontal distance for free. So if they're 2 apart, Alice needs to be able to cover 2 horizontal distances. So Bob has to be we Bob has to move up at least once. So in this case, for Alice to win, um, so last minus Bob should be less than um Bob minus Alice. I think this works. Or if um no. This is no, this is bad. It doesn't take into consideration like this is true even here, right? Last minus, but here Alice can't win, obviously. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, how do we use the edge? Let M be the number of moves Bob makes. Let M be number of moves Bob makes out of, and we must have Bob be able to go, able to move ahead in at most, and K is the distance Alice must cover, which is, I guess, A minus B minus 1 by 2. K is B minus A. A y or by minus ay minus 1 by 2 in this case, right? B minus is, and K is extra distance Alice must cover, which is bx minus ax minus 1. Okay. And out of those M moves, we must have K not contributing in any way, which means that only M minus K moves Bob should be able to move ahead. So last minus Bob, which is the number of moves he can make, must be less than M minus K, right? Let's check here. The number of moves Bob makes is 0. Alice must cover a distance of 1. So minus 1. Last minus Bob is 1. So this is not satisfied. In this case, last minus Bob less than equal to M minus K. Last. Number of moves Bob's make is 2. Alice needs to cover distance 1. Last minus Bob is 1. Okay, yeah, this looks good. So this is the criteria for Alice winning. I guess this is the case where bx greater than ax. If ax greater than bx, we have Bob minus first must be less than equal to m minus k, where k is, I guess, in this case, ax minus bx minus 1. Okay. So that's the Alice winning criteria for if there's the difference is odd. Now difference is even, might be different. It might not be symmetric just because Alice still makes the first move. So I don't know if it's symmetric. It might be, I'm not sure. So Bob wins or draw. So in this case, if it's like this, Bob can always ensure he stays in Alice column. So this is Bob wins. In these cases, that might not be true. Okay, should. Oh God. In this case, Bob wins. But let's say it's like this. Then Alice can go here. Bob can't do anything. So I think it is the same as before, except the value of k changes. There's no -1 here. I think it's essentially the same thing. Last minus Alice less than equal to m minus k. Alice minus last less than equal to m minus. Yes, this was Alice minus, yeah, same thing. But the distance Bob must cover is like the actual difference because Bob doesn't get that extra move. So in this case, I would be doing Alice minus first should be less than equal to m minus k. Number of moves Alice makes is 1. The distance this must cover is 1. Alice is 2 minus 1. 1 less than equal to 1. Oh, sorry. 0. Okay. And then obviously if you have B above A, somehow it's always a draw, right? Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's all the cases. And I think that must be it. But let me check the solutions. Yeah, unfortunately, I messed up something with my C++. So I will install it again and then code it later. But We will look at the tutorial now. Let's see if we got it right or we made mistakes, or maybe we did it complicatedly and there's an easy way. Yeah, this first thing we saw. Hmm. Choose the rightmost option for her. Oh, that is a much better way of thinking about it. Okay, wow. Yeah. So, what I was thinking, um, was okay. So, the way I was thinking about it is, um, Bob has to reach the board, like, Bob has to reach the border within the number of um, moves he makes. Wait, somehow what I thought of seems super complicated. Mm-hmm. Somehow I said last, um, like, okay, what is the statement I'm making? That Bob should be able to move rightwards. Um, okay, basically, okay, no, no. What I'm saying is for K of the moves, Bob shouldn't increase the right distance. So that's why I said that the border should come within M minus K. Yeah, which seems fair. But what they said is forget Bob, look at Alice. Um, within and Alice makes certain number of moves. Within the moves she makes, as long if she reaches the border, she will definitely always win, right? Because um why is that? Because if she reaches the border, Bob was on the right, and so Bob's already there. And if Bob doesn't do that, like if he doesn't like keep trying to go right, then at some point Alice will reach the same column and she can mirror all his moves and they'll be in the same column. I see. Okay, that is much better. So yeah, think about Alice's moves instead of Bob's. I wonder whether if I substitute that in to what I had, it would end up being the same. Let's see. So what I'm saying here is W minus BX is less than equal to M by minus AY minus 1. Okay. By minus AY minus 1 by 2 minus K BX minus AX minus 1. Yes, BX plus AX plus 1. Mm, W minus AX less than equal to BY minus AY by 2 plus 1 by 2. Oh, it's odd. So yeah, plus 1. Yeah, this is what they had. The same thing. So the like yeah, the border minus where Alice is must be less than equal to number of moves Alice makes. Wow. Yeah, I had this extra BX here. And the number of moves Alice makes is BY minus AY plus 1 by 2. Yes. That's pretty cool to see both of them turning out to be the same thing. And I having a more complicated way to think about it. Yeah, I'm still not. Yeah, that's true, right? So, okay. Yeah, the whole thing was as long as the columns become the same, Alice wins. So at any point if the columns becomes the same, Alice wins. Um, so it's in Bob's best interest to keep going right. Because if at some point he doesn't go right, um, I guess it just becomes easier for Alice. Yeah. So now if within Alice's moves, she hits the border, it since Bob was right, then Bob must also be at the border. Bob was right before Alice. Okay, yeah, I think this is good. Wow, and that's so much better. And yeah, that's what I will code up. Okay, it was nice coming back after so long. So see you guys. Bye bye.